What's up, guys? How we doing today? Hope y'all are doing fantastic. Today is day number 25, National Preparedness Month, September 2025. And today we're going to be discussing training. So, training. Be right back. Just a second. All right, so training. I mean, if something were to happen like right now, like if your worst case scenario were to happen right now, would you be ready? I know I wouldn't be. And I'm pretty sure most of us also wouldn't be ready. And because I don't think a lot of us are fully trained, and I know a lot of you probably are. A lot of you probably have probably more training than I do. I need to technically I really need to get out and train a lot more. But the point is training. And I know sometimes, or a lot of the prepper gurus, if you will, or the experts, a lot of them focus on, and a lot of people in general, they focus on when we say training, when it comes to preparedness, and some of these gun tubers and prepper channels, a lot of them just, they focus on guns, gun training. Oh, I go out to the range all the time. But I mean, just going to the range and shooting paper targets, is that really training? I mean, if you're forced to bug out, I mean, yeah, I can shoot paper targets, but I mean, what kind of gun training do you have? Do you have, moving target training? Do you have shoot and move training? Do you have? But anyway, a lot of them they focus on that. They'll get out they'll get out their bag and their rifle and they'll go walking, go in the mountains and go walking, and that's part of it. I'm not saying that don't do that, do that, but there's a lot more to preparedness training that a lot of people really think about and talk about. There's lots of things, and I've got this cut down into like little categories. So if we're bugging out, let's just say we're bugging out. What do we train for if we're bugging out? Other than like putting on your ruck and going, making sure you can actually walk to your bug out with your bag, because you want to train with your bag because your bag might be too heavy, your bag might be it might need some stuff, and we want to use our stuff. We want to train with all of our stuff. But one thing, a lot of people are starting to focus a little bit more on this, but one of the things is medical training, and again, a lot of people are focused on I carry a trauma kit, or I carry a tourniquet, and I mean, yeah, that's cool and all, and knowing how to apply a tourniquet, but do you know how to apply a tourniquet? That's one thing. That's part of it. Do you know how to apply a tourniquet? Do you know how to pack a bullet wound? But there's also more to it than that. I mean, we're talking tourniquets, we're talking like splints, stitches. Do you have sutures, and do you know how to use them? And CPR. Do you know how to do CPR? A lot of people don't. I mean, the basic concept, but a lot of people don't know how to do any of that stuff. Yeah, they got the kit. They focus on a lot of like buying up the stuff. I got this nice trauma kit. I got all this. I got all this gauze and bandages and oil. But do you really know how to use it? You carry a tourniquet around with you. Do you really know how to use it? And there's other things too. There's comms. Communications with your team. Practice that. Train with it. Train with your group, your crew, your whatever you call it, your mag, your team, your train. Get your so that everybody knows how to communicate with everybody. Have your PACE plan. PACE, primary, alternate, contingency, and emergency. Have that, and have everybody on your crew. Everybody that's part of your group needs to know all the signals, all the communications, all the channels, and that's the other thing. Programming a radio. Can you program a radio? You may not think that, but practice, train, programming, because somebody might hand you a radio and say, "This is what I got," and you open up. Well, it's not even programmed. You may need to program a radio, or you could lose your programming on it, or whatever. It's just programming radios. There's also land navigation. Can you read a map and a compass? I know most younger generations can't do that. They have GPS. They grab a GPS watch, or they grab their garment or whatever, and that's how they get around. But those may not be, in a worst case scenario, those may not be usable. Even if they are, you don't want to use them because GPS tracking. There's shelter building. Can you build a shelter? Yeah, you got all your stuff in your bag. You've got your tent, your rope, your cordage, your cover. You've got all your seas of survival. You've got all that. Can you build your shelter? When you're coming to it, if you have to crash up for the night, can you actually build that shelter? Can you build a fire? Do you know how to build a fire? You've got your map, your compass, your fire, your do you know how to build fires with anything, with a lighter, with a ferrocerium rod, with all your, do you know how to, this is all stuff you should be training. It's not just one certain little niche. There's lots that goes into prepper training. And really there's nothing that you could cancel out of this. Every little teeny bit of knowledge and skill and training will definitely help you out like a lot. But hunting, I know a lot of people say, and I've said it myself too, that you're really not going to be hunting a lot, especially in like a bug out situation. You're not really going to be doing a lot of hunting. You might do some, but you might need those hunting skills in your plan. You may not actually be hunting, but you may need those hunting skills. Just in case, in case you get into battle. And hiding, practice your cover, practice hiding from, because if you're out bugging out and another, say, mag or another person, you don't necessarily need to get in a shooting match with them, but you may still not want them to know you're there. So you need to practice like working on hiding and being unseen. And that's at night, at night, at daytime, and, we need to get training on that. All of us do. And like I said, I know that, I speak for myself because I need to, and some of you may have it, but it's like, even if you have it, even if you've got all this stuff down, it never hurts to keep sharpening that sword, keep sharpening it. And also in a bug out, there's another thing, and training, I guess where I'm going with this is this sort of training will help with your both your physical, because there's three steps. There's physical, there's mental, and there's emotional. Emotional and mental kind of go together, but doing this will help with your physical, your motor skills. You start a fire enough times, and pretty soon you're going to just naturally just know how to start a fire without having to really think about it. Just get it like etched in your muscle memory. Shelters, and the more you do it, you're getting physically trained, but you're also getting mentally trained. You so that you can stay calm if this happens. You're not, okay, what do I do? How do I do this? You're not panicking, because one of the things you don't want to do is panic. One of the rules of three that they say is 3 seconds without hope. So you got to get it mentally in there. Other training you want to do would be for bugging in. If we're in a bugging in situation, which is technically preferred if possible, stay in as long as you can, but also medical, same thing. Do you know how to pack a tourniquet? I mean, you may not run into quite as much stuff, but you can burn. You can get burns. Do you know how to treat a burn? There's other things, splints. There's same kind of training. This will help with everything. Get medical training for pretty much everything. And then, cooking with your prepper food. If you're having to dig into your prepper supply, do you know how to prepare all this stuff that you've been prepping, all these beans and rice and corn and all this stuff that you've been prepping? Do you know how to prepare that stuff? You want to practice with it. It's not just a matter of throw it in a bucket and throw it back in the garage or whatever, and boom, there, I got it. Do you know how to cook that? It wouldn't hurt to grab one of those buckets and, pretend that you're bugging in and you're living off of it, and train using it. Cleaning, sewing, all this stuff is valid. Do you know how to sew? I mean, especially men. Do you men know how to sew? I know most of the women do, but do you men know how to sew and clean and cook? And do you know how to do all this? I know a lot of us know how to cook, but again, this is stuff like I'm speaking for myself here too. There's also other just miscellaneous things that we should be training, like area study. Keep just kind of etch in your brain, know that to pay attention to things, notice things, see things if something's out of place in your town or in your area or something that's different. That's not, hey, that's not right. That's not normal. Something's going on here. And reading the way people's looks, and reading who should be here and who shouldn't be here. If you live in a big city, it's harder to do that. But if you live in a small town, you know who there is. You know how people act. And if somebody's acting a little weird, it's kind of a little flag there. And finally, and there's probably a lot more to it. I've probably missed a whole bunch, but I'm trying to keep these videos short and just kind of get more to the meat of things, because there's probably a lot more. There's training in everything. Get training, nonstop training, just everything. Read a book, and one of the last things is stay informed. Like stay informed with the news. I mean, I know news is, especially with all these media, these fake news medias that are out there, it's hard to know what's true and what's not true, but stay informed, do some research and stay informed with what's going on, so it doesn't hit you by surprise. So you are at least keeping up with what's going on. But really, that's pretty much it. And we want to be physically trained, and working out, that's another one, but we want to be physically trained. We want to be mentally trained. And the more physically trained we are, the easier it's going to be mentally trained, because it'll just be second nature. You get it etched in your muscle memory to where this is how you build a shelter. You got it. You can tie your knots with your eyes closed. You could start your fire with your eyes closed, basically. So your muscle memory, and then it'll be a lot easier when that time actually comes, because you won't have to think so much, because overthinking and thinking is what's going to get you in trouble. Thinking too much. If you get to where it's just second nature, second hand. I've been doing this. I've been doing this for years. I know how to start a fire. I've been doing this for years. I know how to cook this rice and these beans or whatever. I know how to. Second nature. Just practice it so much that it gets easy. That it's just second nature. And then when it gets easy, move on to something else. Move on to the next step. But anyway, again, trying to keep these videos short. I don't want to get it too long. National Preparedness Month, day 25. Appreciate y'all. Links down below if you want to support the channel or any of my other channels or whatever. There's links below. Appreciate y'all. Love you. See you in the next one.